The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 24th February 2021. Moon. Me. You know, when we look at the sky and gaze at the stars, I think humans tend to take for granted one of the most beautiful things that illuminate our Earth, the moon. Since I was a child, I was fascinated with her. It's that we don't value what we have so close. No other planet in our solar system can afford to look at the sky with the naked eye and see a star so close that it lets us see asteroid craters millions of years old, valleys and plains, sunsets and sunrises, all in a single image, there, in silence. And most wonderful of all, it revolves around us. It's there every day of our lives. Maybe that's why we downplay it. Mercury and Venus do not possess one. Mars has 2 small pieces of large misshapen asteroids that circulate with it. Jupiter and Saturn are too large to see the surface of their satellites. Perhaps Pluto can afford such a luxury with Charon. However, our world is unique, fascinating, and it's all thanks to it, to the moon. I am. Your lives are a grace of Selene. Me, Selene. I am, the spirit of the moon. That's what they called it in ancient Greece. Selas means light that shines. Selene, then, is bright light. And there is no doubt that it is, because the moon radiates its light that enhances. Well, his light, or rather, the reflection of the sunlight. Me. What is the moon? I am. The moon is a dead planet that was trapped by Earth's gravity at the time of the formation of the solar system. When hundreds of rocks and planetoids flew aimlessly around the sun, the larger chunks attracted the smaller ones and collapsed. If these were very small, they were trapped inside the worlds. But if they were large enough to form a nucleus, their own gravity kept them on axis, dancing around the greater astral body. The moon is one of these planetoids, and a very good one. Me. Why? I am. Its orbit, so close to the Earth, is what allowed the formation of life in this world, because it acts as a squire, protector of the Earth. Its gravity, despite being weaker, has enough force to push any other rock that approaches our world and launch it back into outer space, and if it fails to do so, it will attract these pieces to it. Me. That's why we see its surface full of craters. I am. For that reason, and for a simple reason, it is a planetoid with a core so weak that it does not have seismic activity like Earth, nor does it have enough strength to hold gases on its surface, which makes it devoid of atmosphere. This prevents its transformation, so the craters you see today on the moon are the same ones that dinosaurs saw millions of years ago, maybe with a few new ones. Me. Wow, so seeing it is like seeing the origin of our whole story. I am. And life. The force of lunar gravity has a very important effect on the Earth. Being only 384,400 kilometers away from us and 1 light second, its gravitational force is the one that most affects the gravity of this world, and its effects are direct, especially for those elements with less gravitational weight. Me. Which ones? I am. The atmosphere and water. Comets were the first to bring large concentrations of water and gas to Earth when this world was just like Venus. The molecules that make up these chemical elements, hydrogen and oxygen, are more subtle than minerals compacted by geological pressure, and therefore more susceptible to geomagnetic changes. The rotation of the Earth, the change of the poles, and the electromagnetic field cause the waters and gases of the world to rearrange themselves in currents and pressure systems, generating tides and storms. But the Earth's magnetic field has in turn this guardian, Selene, who with her presence alters these cycles. Thus, in its passage around the Earth, the moon moves these currents, propitiating tides in the oceans and storms. Me. So the moon has direct contact with the waters. I am. All waters. Me. I mean, ours too. I am. It's not for nothing that crazy people are called lunatics. Me. Why? How? I am. Lunatic is one who has a relationship with the moon. and this is due to something very concrete. When the moon shows all its strength in its moment of full moon, people are usually more altered. The rhythm of life is altered. Animals change their habits. Mammals are put in a state of reproduction, something that has been maintained in human culture, but in a romantic way. Me. A romantic dinner in the light of the moon. I am. It facilitates reproduction, and therefore the menstrual cycle is aligned with it. The fertile period of females finds its harmony between the full moon and the new moon. But more things also happen. Hormonal alteration produces at the same time more excitement, which can be both sexual and aggression, since sexuality was related to the struggle to obtain females and territory. Because of this, males go crazy. The blood goes to the head, and it is impossible to think clearly. There is increased pressure, and it disrupts the sleep cycle, driving everyone a little crazy. Hence, in ancient traditions there was talk of strange or scary stories that happened on full moon nights, such as vampires, werewolves, assassins, witches, and during the Christian period it was given a diabolical character, because the pagans used to do their ceremonies during the days of full moon, in which they honored fertility, sexuality, sowing. For the ancients were guided by the moon to know when to sow, and so, in their ceremonies, they kept accounts, so the Romans called it moon. Me. What does it have to do with it? I am. Everything. Luna is a deformation of the word leuknas from the Indo-European leuk, which also gave rise to the word lux, light, and its meaning is more concrete, white radiant light. Leuk gave rise to the Greek word leukos, which means white, as in leukocytes, white blood cells. But the Romans also called the moon something else. Mona. Me. Mona? Like the animal? Monkey? I am. No. Mona as the name for one. In Greek, monas means unity. A mona is a unit of measurement. Thus, a monad has a relationship with that which is in unity, and a concept of mona is a unit of measurement equivalent to the word metro but applied to time. This word is what gives rise to the word month, and in the past the months were not aligned to the sun but to the cycles of the moon. Me. 13 months of 28 days each. I am. The 13 by 28 count was the clearest guide to regulate the periods of sowing, harvesting, travel, reproduction, trade. All the processes of daily life were called in that relation to the moon. This word is what gave rise to the Saxon peoples knowing the moon with the name of month, that is, its current English name. Me. So moon in English means month or unit of measured time. I am. Exactly. All the peoples of the world had 2 calendars, one solar and one moon. The solar was used for larger concepts such as the seasons, solstices and equinoxes, to follow the constellations and transpersonal and divine processes, while the lunar calendar was used to follow the rhythm of life, everyday life, routine, the most human and natural life. Because of this, pagan peoples followed the moon, while peoples who sought God outside this world followed the sun. Thus, the night was demonized, and the moon as its queen, and with it all who honored her. For this reason, the concept lunatic included anyone outside the established normality, me. The moon, then, moves our waters, our life, the everyday. That is, it is who regulates everything we are, our being, personality, our interaction with the world. I am. The moon is the maternal symbol. It is the one who protects her children from external evils, who moves and controls life, regulating the evolution, the interaction of all living beings in this world. Me. There are people who believe it is false, which is something put there by some superior race as monitoring, a kind of spaceship. I am. We will both be lunatics, but this idea is overwhelmed. Me. You always see the same face. Why don't you see the other side? Doesn't it turn? I am. The moon is part of a natural process which has been naturalized for millions of years. The moon has a much slower rotation than the Earth. It takes just over 27 days to turn around itself. That is, the same amount of time it takes to go around the Earth, which gives the feeling of always showing the same side. Their presence does more than monitor. Its presence defends us from deadly threats such as comets and asteroids, while making your heart beat, your blood move. There are waves on the beaches, rain and storms. It makes you feel deep emotions for the living beings around you. If the moon were a machine, then it would be the most beautiful and wonderful machine we could have nearby. The moon is the one that has regulated your mother's fertile period so that she can gestate you, so that you can be born and exist. That is why the moon unites you to your mother more than anything else in the cosmos. That is why the moon is the spirit of the Great Mother. It is the regulator of time and life. Awaken the emotions of your being because it is the one who moves the hormonal cycles of your body. Therefore, regulate your anger, your love, your joy, and your frustration. It is thus the one that is present in every relationship of your life, the one that connects you to each individual, to your mother in the first place, to your family, to the way you love your partners, the way you express yourself to your friends, the qualities of the soul that keep you active in life, processing the cycles of it. Me. Could it be that human life is a disaster because we don't use a lunar calendar? I am. It is one of the keys and pillars that explains the disorder of the earth. Guided by misused calendars, dividing the months of daily life with months that describe processes of spiritual transcendence, makes you live in disharmony, denying the moon, regulating it to a mere nocturnal decoration, when it is to the star that you owe everything, that you owe it what you are. Me. Well, we should do everything possible to resume a lunar calendar and restore the order of daily life, of natural cycles. I am. This will order the lunatics to become artists. It will order the women by returning power. It will order the peoples to trade, to ideas. It will make civilization live again in the present, aligned with biology, because the sun and the constellations do nothing more than talk about philosophical processes and ideologies. Me. A future social system, like the ontocracy, based on biology, should be guided by the moon, then. I am. Absolutely. Otherwise, it will be doomed to failure. The moon is the key to your being. To take away the power it deserves is to take power away from yourself. The moon does not control you. The moon is part of your being. It is what has made your first cells exist. It is the one who has allowed you to exist. And not only do you owe it life, but you are life within its divine grace. Me. The balance of my being depends on my life aligned to the moon. Wow. I am. The moon is the time that regulates your space. Every step you take on Earth is accounted for by the moon. If you don't recognize the moon in your path, you will always get lost in it. Me. The balance of my being radiates in my plexus towards what I feel for every living being, and we are one under the oneness of the light of the moon. I am. This Saturday, February 27th, will be the full moon in Virgo, and it will propose something interesting to all of us. It closes the process you opened 6 months ago in the new moon of Virgo, which invites you to review what you have achieved, felt, and transformed in yourself these last 6 months. Above all, the question would be, what have you managed to order in yourself in the last 6 months? Me. Quite a lot, because the last 6 months have been almost all the way I am. Much has changed. Much has been rearranged in my life. I am. Well, think about it. This is the task of the moon. Review what you have done, and in this case of Virgo, what you have managed to order in yourself. And one last thing. Taking advantage of this new order, put moon order. Build a lunar calendar and be guided by it. Start living your life properly, aligned to the moon, and you will recognize how coherence is embodied in you, how your being lights up. Me. Like Celine. I am. Look at the moon this Saturday and make peace with it again. She is your mother and has in her the strength to make you reborn. Me. I am balance of being. The moon lives in me. I am. You are already a lunatic. Now you just need to find the axis in its light.